All right, there we go.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. So, if you've got a family that is, they're struggling financially, right?
Mhm. Yes.
And and there is a passion for coaching, but it's not working out.
Aren't all families struggling, first of all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some families more than others.
Even those that have it are struggling.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a request from the partner to go back into formal work situation.
Hmm.
And an honest request, not a demand, like
Hmm.
a real request from the heart.
Yep. Yep.
And so my counsel was that with enough support, because there was a history in formal employment,
Hmm.
which is what led the person to feel like being on their own and doing their own thing was going to be better. But
Yep.
there's a whole nother layer of it, of stuff that surrounds that.
Hmm.
Um, so my counsel was, okay, so say for instance it's me, then it's easier.
Perfect.
Okay, so I've got my health, right? So for me, if I don't see to my health, there's no point in anything else. So if I go out to do coaching, which, as we all know, to build a business takes enormous amount of effort and time and energy.
Well,
It is,
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
is,
That's
no, it is not an overnight thing for anybody.
mhm. And nothing is.
Correct. Correct. So, what my counsel was that if there was enough support to deal with, say, for me, it would be the physical, and there was part-time formal employment to just be able to bridge
Hmm.
things, then surely that's as valuable, or that's not. So the message that this person is sitting with in their head is that they're now sabotaging themselves by making a compromise. And I don't see it as a compromise. I see it as a bridge. That's what I realize I see it as. Thank you for that. It's a bridge. Why is it compromise? I mean, you're facilitating. I mean, you're not you. Yeah. Anyway, I for me, I just sit with that thing in the end of, where is our identity really? And if we're fully aligned in ourselves, how can we compromise ourselves? How is that possible? It makes no sense to me at all. So your job is to find your alignment. And when you find that and you work from there, things ultimately will be the best that they ever possibly could be.
There you go. Yep.
Okay. I needed
Now that's
somebody.
tension. That's tension. That is tension.
There you go. There you go.
And it's different and appears different for all.
That's
But
right.
we can call it, it's tension.
Yeah.
And as you're speaking, what I listen is it is that tension between going for your truth, what your heart would love to bring into existence, what your genius is here for, and the expectation of what you got to do.
Yes. That makes so much sense as well. I don't know why I didn't trigger on that. Yeah.
And that is an oscillation. That's what we oscillate between.
Yeah.
And others don't help us, usually out there.
No.
Realize that because we are so grabbed on to the fear of new. The fear of all the stories we heard of people that couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because they gave in to the tension. They gave in to the resistance and stopped going for what they love. That is what we do. We stop going for what we love when things get tough.
But I understand that. But for me, this is the bridge. And so then it's the bridge from going sure. I wonder now. So is it the bridge from going from stuck and oscillating to creative?
Stuck and oscillating is like the result of. You were attaching an identity to flow. Not a true comparison. They're two outcomes, yeah. So I would say the old identity compared to a creative identity, which is a new one, which is what we're going for, which is what we want to bring into. So that's how I would look at the comparison.
Yes. And so I get that, but I think what I'm saying, or what I'm trying to figure out is for me, there's a very subtle line between I'll use this language, it might not be the right language. There's a very subtle line between making a compromise and giving into the tension.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense when I say
well, giving into which tension?
Giving into the psychological tension.
Which is a compromise then.
Okay, so if you are...
Compromise is limited.
That's right, it is.
Compromise says, oh, I can't do this, so then I will do that.
Okay, so, but Jess, if you've got a human body to deal with, right? That human body at that specific time cannot do what your heart's desire is.
Why not?
Because it's compromised.
Well,
so just hang on.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily going to be compromised forever, right? But it's compromised in this period. So in this period of time, if you then take care of your body, bring in finances to facilitate bills being paid, and in your spare time, because the position that you have to take doesn't have to be full time, and then in the other time that you've got available, you're continuing doing what you love. That's a strategy then.
Mhm.
So that's not the same as compromising.
Mm-mm,
Thank you.
not at all.
Okay, that's what I needed reassurance on.
Mhm. That's the difficulty in giving specific guidance, because it's guidance that you have to come up with, or whoever's in the role has to come up with. They have to create it in their words.
Yes.
And there's a way that you speak about the compromise that uh, so what I also listened to it was like there was a one or, it's this or that, and it's like that is, there's no space, there's only two options, there's only two spaces when there's so much space in between, and probably on the outside of the edges that we've created, the
Yeah.
constraints.
Yeah.
And so without a doubt, it's like, and so certain things could be like, well, I need money more than living my true nature and purpose in this moment. How can I have both? Oof. You've just created tension. By the question, you've created tension. Now, the answer is whether you're resisting it or flowing into it. And it's like, what could I helps flow into it? And that could be a strategy. It's like, oh, I could go back and I could do that. And then how would I enjoy that? How would I love it? And the point is to go do it then to see if you'd love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And adjust it, because every step is for the purpose of it. Yeah. Even the bad steps are part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in a way, the powerful creator creates the best move no matter what move they make.
Yeah. It's always like that, right?
Always.
We always think that when people self-sabotage, if that's the right term to use, always think that they're doing themselves short. It's not necessarily so. Could be.
Well, I'm with you. It's when we keep playing it over and over and don't take the lesson, means it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. Yeah. Before it could get better.
Mm-hmm. If we keep playing the same pattern, that's what happens. It accumulates. That bridge isn't taken, so you're not stepping onto that bridge. The bridge is still there.
Yeah.
You're just avoiding the bridge, which means that the bridge will always be there. The right bridge, if we could call it the creative bridge, the right bridge, the obvious action to step into, the situation to face, and confront and move through it, is always going to stay there. It's just, when are we going to make the step into it?
Mm. Mm. And that timing is so important.
Yeah, it's predetermined, I believe.
Yeah, there's that too. So I was listening to a talk the other day. I can't remember who it was now. They were talking about, our capacity to choose. And then he said that he's not always so sure about whether we understand free will all that well. But we certainly do have the capacity to choose. And that sat with me very well. It made a lot of sense to me, and it is definitely how I have lived up to now. Can there be improvements in terms of how I have lived? For sure, you definitely can. But then I also think that I've done pretty well. I mean, I've outlived my cohort I had the transplant for 17 years now. The average 90%, not the average, 90% of my cohort have passed after 10 years.
Hmm.
So I must have done something right.
Mm-hmm.
Would I like to do better? For sure. I definitely would like to do better. Have I been able to do better over these past 6 months? For sure. Definitely. I had a wobbly these last 3 days when I got so sick again. But then it was interesting, you know, that I then got this signal for assistance, and I went into it. And like I said, I wasn't quite sure, but that was my instinct, was to go at it that way and say, why does it have to be a compromise? Why is it not part of your creation? And that flipped it for her.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how long that lasts, right? In terms of how she feels about it.
Well, that's where support helps. Like
That's
I
right.
don't think that it won't take away the outside pressure.
Mm. Mm.
It's how they respond to it now with the new awareness that can't be unaware.
Yeah. And I stressed the support along the way. I said that was very important. And she's got some.
Mhm.
So that's good.
It's I mean that's why the cost of this shouldn't be on those struggling financially. It just shouldn't be, but it is.
I know. I don't like my profession's business model at all.
No, it's
It's awful. That's why I don't make any money with it.
I know. Right. Yeah.
Oh God.
I know. And me either.
Yeah, I know.
But it doesn't take away that is my calling, my serving, my heart. It doesn't take that away because the heart doesn't want, isn't doing it for the money.
Mm.
Money is what we've made up here.
Mm.
The heart has no understanding of that.
No.
It doesn't need it, is the point. That's what we're trying to tell. That's what we're trying to convince the mind.
Yeah.
And of course, you say that out loud, and that is ridiculous. Yes. Yes and no. It's like, imagine the day when that is true. We'll be swimming in so much. It'll be taken care of. That's thriving. We can't even imagine what that would be like. And that's the problem.
Yes.
Because those in power won't let go of what's there yet.
I kind of wonder, I mean, I've gone through this for decades. I kind of wonder if that's not just part of being in human form, because there is duality. And that's part of what we have to deal with here. That's a conclusion I came to.
I think it's a lesson in it yet. It's still a lesson in it. And what I say to that is, well, why would we come in the way we come in then? I don't get that. That's where I get off. Because we can do better in our structure of that, because our structure is around scarcity and surviving. And yes, to learn that.
Yes, that's true.
Why would we come in leading with our passion then? Because that is what children do.
Yeah, they do. They sure do.
So it's been there. It's ingrained there. And I think it's for more than just survival, but maybe we haven't learned that or experienced that or created what's possible after that yet. And of course, it makes sense when you're controlling something. And for now, we have to work in that structure that's there.
Mm.
Until it isn't, until enough people are fed up with it that they don't like that structure. And then they realize, oh, how do we change that structure rather than holding on to the same damn structure, playing it over and over and over and over again? Choose something new, see what happens. That's why one yes matters.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's all it takes is one yes. And you can try and hide it as long as you can, but the truth will reveal itself. Always does.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Just
but
wait.
that's the thing, is how long?
The expectation then. I mean, time is all an expectation.
Yeah. But it's also biology.
As
right?
fast as possible is the expectation.
Yes.
And we can force that, push that, pull that, fight that as fast as possible. It doesn't change it.
Mm.
In a way, I find it funny. Like I can, after I see it, right, I can look back and say, oh, that makes so much sense of why, but not in the moment, not going through it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been my experience too, very much so. I mean, if I think of my day yesterday, like I could recognize in the moment, I could recognize the difference of strength that I felt physically. And I didn't like it because it was weaker. And then I thought about what I've learned and what I want to make of what I've learned. And that helped.
Mhm.
It didn't take away the frustration until I actually spoke to the frustration.
That's right.
And then when I spoke to it, I didn't like what it felt like. And then it hit me, okay, so you can change it now.
Mhm.
So that was a relief.
Mm.
So it's those very, very fundamental switches and changes. But I also think that I'm fortunate in terms of that I've had to think about, because it's as much as you can do. You can just think about it. I mean, you can try and do what the Zen masters say and, die on the mat. I'm not that advanced, unfortunately. But because I've had to think about it, about dying, I also have the advantage in that I can really feel that I don't die. My body dies. I don't die, but what I do here before my body dies counts. And I never could conceptualize all of that together in the same way and in the same way. It counts for continuing as well as counting for here. I always kind of thought that the two were separate. And I'm beginning to realize that they're not because of memory. And how memory exists in the field. But it gets dropped. So there's always new in the field, right? But the new gets created on what already existed.
The space between.
Yeah.
Everything, anything, and nothing.
And nothing, yeah. Yeah. And for me personally, that's enormously comforting. I find huge purpose and comfort in that. For other people, it wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't make sense.
It's uncertainty.
Yeah, but you could say in a way that I've created certainty for myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, because you were comfortable sitting in uncertainty, which meant go one step back further. And it was like in the pain, you were fine with the uncertainty of the pain. To take whatever next action is there. It's when they grip us and we attach to it is when
yes.
we don't, we hold on to it.
Yeah. I think that experience of stumbling along is more familiar to me now. So I can ride it more easily.
Yeah. Like my mom says, we fail forward. Even when we fall flat on our face, it's forward.
Yes. This was very helpful, Jess. Thank you so much.
It was. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I don't like being alone.
None of us do like being alone all the time.
I know.
Oh,
and yet we'll hold on to it. As they say, suffering will be the last thing we give up.
Oh, yes. I haven't heard that before. That's so interesting.
No, I'm surprised you haven't. I heard it from some Buddha or something like that, some yoga master, some yogi master. Don't even know what that means, but yeah, some smart guy said that sometime, or gal or someone.
Yeah.
I think it was a Dalai Lama. Yeah, Dalai Lama. I think he said it. Suffering was the last thing that we will give up.
We will give up. Yeah. God, and do they know what pain is? My God. Why?
What I'm saying is not that we give it up, surrender to it.
Yeah.
Same thing you did. Is what do I need to learn in the pain? What is this? Because that is just acknowledging the truth of the moment, the truth of now is all that we have.
It's very it's very difficult for people to get to that point.
That's their own.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm with it, but you know, for those that move through it or willing to, those are the only ones to talk to about it. Because the other ones are saying no. They're saying no to themselves.
Yeah.
That just means they're late to the party.
Yep. And
And it
how
will cost, and it will cost them.
it will cost them. But how do you find those people in
That's
today's?
marketing.
I know, but
And
that's
it's never been easier.
you think so
Never been easier. Never been easier.
because of the internet.
Yes. Otherwise, you'd have to walk around in sandals across towns preaching.
That's true. That's very true. But we also now have the algorithms to deal with, and we don't know what they do. Or do we?
Yes. We may not understand it.
Mm,
How practiced are you in the algorithms?
not at all.
There you go. That's
Have
why you
no
don't know
clue.
them. That's why I don't know them. But if there's a message that matters that people need to hear, aren't hearing it and want to hear it, it'll be very interesting to see how well it goes.
Unless you find somebody that does understand the algorithms.
Well, that's a given. But the algorithm isn't the key. It's the message that's the key. Because getting it, anybody can get it somewhere. Even I can get it somewhere.
Oh God, now you've got me on another track. So how do you know how to get it?
Yes, and offer. Right? I mean, everyone can post on Facebook. Everyone can share it with someone.
Okay.
I mean, the current market, my current marketing is aiming to get 10% eyes on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
20% is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what about the 80? Because the algorithm's not set up for the 80. So that's how you blow up the algorithm,
Yeah.
is attract the 80. And you attract the 80 because then they don't pay for it, right? And the 80's there, and then you're getting so much traffic for such a little amount invested because you go against the rules that they put in place. That's what creators do.
How are you going against the rules? By giving stuff for free?
Definitely, yeah, it could be, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's
one way.
part of it.
Knowing how it works. The other time, it's like, well, the point of it is you still play by the rules, but how do 80 of them say yes rather than 20 say yes? 80 say yes rather than 80 say no. That's how you blow it up. I don't know, but anytime someone says 20% or placebo as 30% is successful, I say it isn't.
I agree.
And once it's changed, it will never go back.
Yes, that's true.
I don't know, but I don't know how to do it yet, but it's what we're in the middle of.
Yeah.
And it'll cost, it definitely will cost some. Yeah, it'll cost something to do it. It always does. It always costs. Time, energy, money, and lost opportunity is always cost. Always. Learning is cost. Because you're always giving up something for something else.
Mm-hmm. You're using your heartbeats.
So yes, and
yeah, I love that analogy. It's so beautiful.
And bringing the passions, the genius together. And I mean, you think about business being able to use this model in a way that, let's say, Chris is using it, or the advertisers, the marketing people. It's use that to make an offer that really matters. You'll never go back. That's the key to it yet. You got to break the old structure. The old structure is holding on to it way too tight.
But then, if I may say, I don't like Magmine's business model at all, and to the extent that I signed up to be affiliate, and I'm not interested in being one now.
You saw past the structure. You saw that that structure is still flawed, even though promising it wasn't.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's still satisfied with 20%.
I thought I was just hearing things through rose-colored glasses, but then I found out a few people had made the same interpretation that I had. So I thought, it's interesting.
Truth does reveal, no matter what. I mean, structure is always structure, and it will reveal itself. And it's still why I don't know if we ever get out of our old structures all the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I look at what Magmind has created for a lot of people, and I have respect for that because it's created a lot of good. But I can't, in all honesty, sell a program and say that it's worth 20,000 when I think it is not worth that at all. Not by any means. Not only that.
And more people that start to see that model falls apart.
I don't know, geez. I don't know. We'll see. Right?
I mean, yes, and the sucker's born every day, but eventually it runs the wheels off. It always does, unless it changes. And the problem is that that's not changing, but the creators are. I mean, what is it? What was it? American Idol still on TV, right? Just different creators. Playing the same damn thing again and again.
There's so many things to discern between and to weave your way in and out of.
If you're not aware of structure, yes. If you're aware of structure, it's the only thing to be aware of. There's nothing else it needs to be aware of. What do I want? Why can't I have it? What will I do? Who will I be? What do I need to be to have that? That's a whole lot better. Like that, I be, because that'll drive the action. There's always an action.
Yes.
Structure.
That's true.
And structure, the most important structure is what's the truth of now, which is just the information that's there. It's the charge of the moment. Is that aligned with the charge of where I want to be, who I want to be, what I want to do? Not, well, what is, what will be? Because it's not that, then it's like, what is it? Now we've created a tension, a structure, just in the question.
Definitely.
Which goes against all that we think how it needs to be. So yeah, it can be difficult. It can be confusing. It can be complicated, and it can be simple.
Yes, it definitely can be. All those things.
Mhm.
If you start with the body,
Mhm.
there's a lot that you can do.
If you started with the body, then what would you move to?
Sorry, say that again.
So starting with the body, it's like, then what would be the next thing you could move to?
Yeah.
Relationships,
Yes.
not only with people, but with things. What are my relationships with everything? You know, because that's the body part, and then the relationships with everything. And then like at the top of the pyramid, right? As our life force, it's like, well, what's yourself? Yourself, you.
Yes.
Life
Your
force.
unique, your unique input.
Genius. You bet. You're genius. Your genius input. You bet. Stutz. I stole it from Stutz.
It's a good steal.
There's so many tools in that are just amazingly set up for structure that will win. That's why he's so damn good. I mean, you think about the first three tools he told us was, what do you, your purpose, your passion, your life force, your part X, why you can't have it, and then your line of pearls, your action, your string of actions.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What do you want? Why can't you have it? Take the action. I mean, that's the wiggle, wobble, and move.
Yes.
Wiggle, wobble. Sorry. Wobble, wiggle, giggle.
Yes.
It's like, ugh.
And the string of pearls with a bit of dirt. Right.
The beauty of that, what I like in that, yes, is like you take the action and you don't know which one's going to produce the big outcome until you take it. You take the action. They're all actions are equal until you take them. The outcome is what's different. All the actions have the same weight. They have the same mechanic. They have the same possibility, the same opportunity. We just don't know which one, yet we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And trying to figure it out keeps it from happening.
That's right. So if you put yourself into a creative structure with that, then it's much easier, right? Because you've got more direction.
Yep. Confidence, truth, it's flow. You're not stuck. You're not limited. You're not constrained. And you get what you want rather than avoiding it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in a way, it's like I turned my back on oil so oil could find me.
I know, that's also interesting. Eh?
Yeah, it had to go that way.
So with the statement, there's something else that I was thinking about is that when you want something, you might not even know exactly what it is.
Mm.
But when you want something and it seems as though it's not going to happen at that point, you can, it's almost like you said, you turned your back on oil. So in another kind of situation for me, what it would be that you take your grasping away from it and you leave it, let it be, and you focus elsewhere.
Yep.
while keeping your, what is it? You're keeping the door open.
Don't have to.
Yeah.
Your focus shifts.
Your focus shifts without closing the door.
Mhm.
So that's the essential part of it then, that you don't close the door on it.
And if you
So then-
do, it's like but like if letting go of it is closing the door on it,
That's what people are scared of.
Mhm.
But you don't have to close the door.
That's right. No, you don't. And without a doubt, is there a lot of fear around you're giving up on oil? You're not in there. You're not doing that. It's like, no, it's dead.
Yeah.
It's dead for my career.
But in the meantime, the world needs a bridge from using oil as its main energy
Mhm.
to finding something that really is efficient.
Just like I needed a bridge to retirement.
Yeah.
Just like I needed a bridge to my passion, like coaching, helping people.
Yeah.
So how do you do both? Oh, that's how. Oh, obvious now. It was just missing a component to it. It was missing the focus. It was missing the truth. Missing my passion for it. It's like, oh, rekindled, find it. And it just happened to be in that direction. Well, of course, wouldn't have found it if I didn't start the 100 days of however many days it is of happy. Because at day 30, it was like, clink, there it is. You could say it was one action, but it was not just one action. It was 3 years.
Yeah.
Not quite 3. Not quite
And
3.
many disappointments along the way.
Oh, shit. More, 1 out of 10 at least. I mean, 9 out of 10 disappointments. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Yeah.
All right. I gotta step off here.
Thank you, Jess,
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you, Allison. Great being with you. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Have a good day.
Thanks. You do. You have a great day too.
Thank you.
Okay. Talk soon.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.